What's up, magical people? Welcome back to your most magical life. We've got Merlin here with us making a cameo. Today we're talking about witchy winter wisdom and the celebration of Imbolc. So this is pronounced many different ways, right? It's an Irish word, so a lot of the times we're not saying it exactly the way we should. But this holiday, the word means in the belly. And so this is really an important opportunity for us to be recognizing how deeply ingrained in our psyche, in our world. Like, I'm looking out at these snowy mountains and the snow is just falling down right now. Having seasons and having winter really is cellularly, genetically, we are designed to have winter. And so because this holiday means in the belly, the invitation is to really focus on what are we creating right now? What is alive inside of us? And what are we most looking forward to bringing to life in the coming spring? And now, of course, in the Southern Hemisphere, we're on a totally different timeline. So those of you who are down there, this is a different holiday for you, right? You guys are in the Samhain portal. So it's thinning veils, it's ancestors. And even though those could be opposite, right? It's more like the death versus the rebirth. They really do go hand in hand, right? Everything in our world does. Everything is interconnected. And so for me personally, I know that this is always supportive when I share what's going on with me. So for me, I'm focused on my book. I have been in the fucking belly of the beast right now. I have never worked so much in my entire life because I'm running my business. I have my program Sorceress coming up. So if you guys are interested in diving really deep with me, we are just creating the most magical, beautiful container that's all of the embodiment practices, all of the work that I've done on myself in order to build a massively successful business just by being who I am, which is exactly what I wanted. I used to put that down. I just want to get paid to be myself. And it's happening. It's working. Thanks to all of you. So thank you so much. And if you feel like joining Sorceress and learning my keys and codes, then please click the link below. Now, I have never had to create something that's so separate from that business. Of course, writing a book as me, creating something that's going to go out into the world and be there for all of you. It's not separate, but it is. It's the amount of time that I'm spending on my book, which is basically all day, every day, getting every edit perfect and it completely dialed in to be exactly the masterpiece that I know it's divinely designed and destined to be, is taking me more time than I could have ever imagined. The editing process is actually taking me 20 times longer than the book process is taking me. And it's much harder and it's much more intricate. It requires so much more focus and concentration. And so I'm doing that and then running my business and running a team and taking care of people who work for me and having to answer questions for them and write emails and do all of these other things. It's there's a lot going on in the belly, which is why for me, I literally feel more like I'm in the belly of the beast. But what's so beautiful about that is that in just a week or so, my manuscript is due. And I can think of nothing better. I can think of no greater use of my time than giving everything I have to this creation, than giving everything that I am, everything I believe, my blood, sweat, tears, pussy juice, all of it to this thing. And so that is the invitation for all of us right now. It doesn't mean you have to know what the creation is yet. The invitation with Imbolc is really to look at what do you want to bring forward into the world, whether that's a creative project like a book or a piece of art or a song or music or poetry or anything, whatever it is, a sculpture, a child. It doesn't matter what the thing is that you want to bring to fruition. What matters is actually that you recognize that because those of us who are in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is my first time living in a wintry place. I've never lived in a place where it's snowy. This is a different ballgame for me. Waking up every day with crystalline snowflakes, just frosting every single tip of every branch of every tree. It's just incredible. And so I am seeing how imperative this season is right now. I couldn't be out and about. I don't have time to be socializing. I don't have time to be hanging out with friends or having dinner parties or doing any of the things that I would normally be doing if I was living in LA, if I was at home. I'm choosing my home to be here because I am in the belly. And so we get to look at, for every single one of us, As the belly itself, right, as the creator of whatever it is that we want to bring forth, we are also ourselves in the belly of the mother. We are in the womb of the earth always. This winter time, that is her like, okay, we're going internal. And maybe it's your home that becomes the womb, right? Maybe it's not specifically like you're living in a cave. It would have been, But right now, we're also being asked to look at what the versions of ourselves are, what the aspects of who we are, that we love, that we appreciate, that we want to amplify, that we want more of, that we're excited about, that we feel proud or appreciative or accomplished in and by. And we also get to see the ways in which we're not, or we don't feel good, or we're unhappy, or, for me, like I've just noticed, like I have to get up and get moving and get going right off the bat. And if I don't, like, it's really hard for me to get motivated. If I don't like get on my yoga mat or start making something or like get into creation mode immediately, the morning will kind of go slow, or like, oh, I'm making my morning tonic. And then I'm like, something else comes up. And then, oh, there's some other question and something that needs me. And then I'm like editing emails when I need to be doing my book. And just like the energy is not clear and focused. And that is so imperative if you're creating something, right? It would be like if you're trying to make pottery and you're trying to text at the same time, right? Like you need both your hands for the pottery. You kind of need both hands for the text. It's going to take you a long time. You might like scratch the pottery or mess the thing up. Like you want your attention, even if you're focused on several different things throughout the day, you want your attention to be on one and then the other and then the other. That's just how it works. And that's the invitation for all of us right now with this in the belly energy, is that we get to look at ourselves as how are we operating as the creation, not just the creator. How are we functioning as the creation? How are we functioning as a child of the mother? How are we functioning the way that we're expecting a creation or a manifestation to come through us? What do you think she's expecting of us that we maybe are not doing? And ultimately, this is really the most important thing that we can ever ask ourselves. And this is applicable to every season, every moment. We are always the children, the creations of Mother Earth, and we are often not responding to that well. And so one of the things that I teach always and that I share and I hope has impacted positively your lives in some way is that the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we relate to Mother Earth are a direct reflection. So if we know how to care for ourselves, generally we know how to care for the earth. And if we take good care of the earth, generally we have great health, great abundance, great, solid kind of stable foundations, the nature of abundance that is not just financial. It's really about how our lives care for and hold us, right? The way that banks hold the rivers. So this moment, this winter season, this is our most internal. This is our most reflective. This is the darkest time of the year. So we get to see our darkness. I've really seen mine in these last couple of weeks, and not in the normal ways, not in the big, getting frustrated and freaking out or being upset. It's more like I've seen the ways that my small habits or my choices in a moment can be informed by or based on something that isn't what I want to be my truth. It's not something that feels good for me. It's something that feels horrible, or it's a belief or a story or, a program that isn't actually what I want to be the truth. Especially with starting my mornings and if I'm diving immediately right into work instead of taking care of myself in the morning. And so there is this powerful opportunity for us as we're seeing the way that we function in winter. Are you in alignment with Mother Earth? And I don't mean to push this home all the time, but most of us are not living in alignment with Mother Earth. One of my friends did a project. She tried to go as plastic free as possible. And instead of throwing away, because there is no away, when we throw away something, there's no away. It stays on this planet. It lives here. Maybe it goes away from your kitchen or your bathroom, but there's no away. It stays right here. on our mother, on her skin. Imagine if someone was just like, oh, let me just tape all my trash to your skin. You'd fill up pretty quickly. So one of my friends did this beautiful experiment where she left all of her trash, all of her plastic, anything that wasn't recyclable, instead of throwing it away, she left it on her kitchen counter. And, she was like trying to be as minimal as possible with the trash. And within like 3 weeks, she had like a giant trash bag on her kitchen counter. And she'd been like cutting back as much as she could. And I know that you all know this, but this is not to shame anyone. This is just for us to wake the fuck up, because we are sleeping in this way still. The way that we function with our food, the way that we relate to what is meant to nourish us, to the people. When was the last time you talked to the person who grew something for you? Because that is, and like now I'm in Colorado, and I was, spending so much time in Northern California where I grew up, and in LA, obviously, and where the farmers markets happen year round. And I can year round go and talk to the man who grew my kabocha squash, or who tended to my parsley, or who cultivated the garlic and the mushrooms that I like to eat. And that hasn't happened for me here because everything is completely covered in a blanket of snow, which it's just magnificently beautiful. And it's weird for me though, to have to like go to a grocery store all the time, because that's not my normal way of doing things. And I know that most of us aren't aware that there are other options, but there are, especially right now. Like if you are not in a place where it's covered in snow, there are still gonna be, they're called CSAs, or community supported agriculture organizations. You can Google it. You can find places where people are growing vegetables, growing food, eggs, dairy, like whatever it is that you eat, depending on your dietary restrictions. There are people that are growing those things that want to share them and want to offer them to you, and where you can talk to. One of my favorite guys, his name is Blake. This man, the amount of gratitude that he gave me the first time I bought a bundle of $2 cilantro from him. He was just like, he handed it to me, and I paid him, and he goes, thank you so much. Thank you. And I was just like, you're welcome, bro. Thank you. Thank you for growing this for me. And thank you for the way you said thank you. And I told him the next week when I went back, I was like, just so you know, I will always be looking for your stand. I will always be buying your Brussels sprouts and your honey nut squashes. I will always come back here, because I can feel that gratitude that you gave to me is the gratitude that you're giving to your food, is the appreciation for your own skills to even know how to do this. What a lost art. And so we are so disconnected from the belly of the earth, from our womb cauldron creation energy, because it is the earth's energy. That's literally what she does all the time. She's always growing and fruiting and rising and blossoming, and then falling and decaying, and composting and nurturing and fueling what comes next and rising again. Like that's the cycle of life on this planet. We are created in the image and likeness of Goddess, Mother Earth. And so we have to look at our habits, our behaviors, our ways of doing things, our modes of operating, in order to become the most empowered and magical creators, right? One of my sisters was here the other day, and she was like, I've been really thinking about this concept of being a good ancestor versus being a good descendant. Being a good descendant, right, often can look like, she's Jewish, and she was talking to me about, as a good descendant, a good Jewish descendant in her family, they're Orthodox, you stick to the law. You listen to everything that your grandmother said, and you follow, and it's just that's the way things are, and you just do it. And she's like, but I don't want to be a good descendant. She's like, I want to be the kind of ancestor that changes those old, outdated, disempowering ways. These patriarchal programs, prayers that say, thank you, God, for not making me a woman. She's like, I want to be the kind of ancestor that says, we should not be saying those prayers anymore. That's not okay. That comes from wounding. So if we look at this invitation for Imbolc, what are we being asked as future ancestors? as future grandparents or great-grandparents or great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. We're starting a new legacy with our lives right now. That's what Sorceress is all about. It's like, what are you leaving behind with the life that you're leading? And we have to ask ourselves this right now, because we have such infinite potential, and yet we're squandering so many of our resources, so much of the beauty on our planet. We're not even being good descendants, let alone being good ancestors. And again, it's not to blame, like I'm being the best I can be, right? For right now. And then I can learn more, and then I can be better. I can devote deeper, be more disciplined. And when we do that, when we show ourselves, which are, right, emanations and microcosms of the universe, when we show ourselves, this is what matters to me, this is what's important, this is what I care about, then that energy of this is what matters, this is what we care about, that reflects out, it radiates out into the world around us, into the collective consciousness. And more people start to figure out what's really important, what really matters. So that is actually our invitation for Imbolc. I know that, a lot of people are going to be telling you to do these specific rituals and build bridges, crosses, and that's all amazing and well and good. And you should if you want to. And the word means in the belly. And we are every day walking on the belly of the earth. Every day we're her children. Every day we're her creations. Every day we carry her own creative life force energy within us, and it is what fuels and inspires our creations. So as you're utilizing this winter time and moment, really feel into what kind of descendant am I being? What kind of ancestor do I want to be? How do I want to create my life and community and relationship to the world around me? What do I want to see change? What do I want to see shift? How can I shift these things in myself? If I believe we should care for Mother Earth, then I should stop buying plastic. It's hard. I get it. Fuck. And a lot of it is about our leadership. But the thing is, people think that it's only governmental systems that create, the ripple effect of like how we make our choices. But if we made our choices differently, if you never picked up those plastic bags in the grocery store, because your fruit has a peel. It has a biodegradable cover or skin that you can wash most of the time or take off. You don't need a plastic bag to hold your broccoli or anything in the grocery store. You don't need plastic bags, period. You know how I know that? Because people survived without them for hundreds of thousands of years. We don't need plastic bags, but we're programmed to think we do. Oh, this will keep it clean or whatever. Like, you're going to have to wash it anyways. Somebody already took it out of a box to put it right there on the grocery store shelf. So if we stop using those things, if we take our choices into our own hands and we stop using them, and the grocery stores see like, oh wow, nobody's using these, why are we buying them anymore? They'll stop buying them. And then our individual choices, the power we have as the microcosm, can affect and impact the macro. And that's the seed that we get to plant. That's what gets to live in the belly of us, or in our hearts, or in our spirits. Because we carry this womb energy, this creative energy in every part of us. What do we want to plant and nourish and nurture that will then blossom and grow? So I hope that you all remember that you do make an impact. You matter. Even as just you, even just on your own, as a single cell in this massive organism of the universe, you matter. Your choices matter. You can become a leader and a role model by being true to yourself and true to this eternal, infinite flow of life. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this has been supportive for you during this winter season and that it has inspired you to become an even more powerful creator, because it is my deepest honor and pleasure always to be showing up here and creating a new wave of witchcraft, a new depth of wisdom that we all can live by, and that I think will serve us all as a species so much. And I know that it's a little different from everybody else's, but it's just really what the goddess and the spirits of nature and the earth tell me to share with you, and I can't do anything else. So thank you so, so much for being here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I am Mia Magik, and as always, I am so grateful to welcome you to your most magical life.